together with the Mars rover Perseverance, a small, almost inconspicuous test object, landed on Mars on February 18, 2021. Actually, the mini helicopter named Ingenuity was only supposed to make a few test flights, but these small tests, unintentionally, turned into one of the greatest successes of Mars exploration. Ingenuity not only revolutionized the exploration of Mars, but also took the exploration of other planets in the solar system to a whole new level. Ingenuity and Perseverance. The Mars rover Perseverance was launched with the clear mission goal of finding traces of water on Mars. The aim is not only to detect currently existing water deposits. Perseverance is meant also to investigate traces of rock formations that indicate former watercourses or water deposits such as lakes, springs, or oceans. According to the latest findings, there must once have been large quantities of water on Mars. These may have retreated underground after the evaporation of the Martian atmosphere and other dramatic upheavals. In addition to searching for water, the rover will collect rocks and send samples back to Earth for the first time in a unique retrieval mission. But that is still a long way off. The follow-up mission, which will bring the rock back to Earth, will start in 4 years at the earliest. Do you like topics like Mars research or the latest discoveries from other probes that are searching for life and water in the solar system? Then check in with us often, or simply subscribe to the channel. We'll keep you up to date on all of NASA's latest missions and report on exciting discoveries and missions from previous years. Ingenuity has traveled to Mars in the belly of Perseverance. The small helicopter, which looks a bit like a dragonfly, actually had only one goal. Researchers on Earth wanted to know if a man-made flying object could fly on Mars. This may sound a bit strange at first, but if you know that the aeronautical conditions on Mars are very different from those on Earth due to the thin atmosphere and less powerful gravity, you will understand that a terrestrial helicopter design is not necessarily suitable for Mars. A helicopter weighing several tons can only take to the skies on Earth if it overcomes certain physical factors or uses the prevailing forces for itself and its flight. The gravitational force of Mars is only about 38% of Earth's gravity, so a flying object should be able to take off much more easily than on Earth. At the same time, however, it's not at all easy to get a flying object aloft in the 330-foot thinner Martian atmosphere. Ingenuity weighs only about 5 pounds, and its rotor blades can rotate at 2,400 revolutions per second. This means that the Mars helicopter rotates 10 times faster than any terrestrial helicopter. Despite thorough preparations, practically no one on Earth knew at the start of the mission whether the helicopter would be able to fly at all. And then little Ingenuity not only surprised its designers, but also ushered in a new era of Mars exploration. Ingenuity's landing on Mars. On April 13, 2021, Perseverance let Ingenuity, which by then had been folded up to miniature size, plop out of its belly. The helicopter then stood on its own 2 feet for the first time. It took a full 10 days for the technology to be fully deployed and adjusted, and for Ingenuity's batteries to be charged. On top of that, the Martian weather had to be perfect for the helicopter to take off for the first time. On April 19th, the time had come. Ingenuity's first flight was only about 10 feet high and lasted 30 seconds. But as short as the flight may have been, it was perfect, and it represented a historic moment. Never before had a human-built flying machine taken off on a planet other than Earth. This picture was taken by Ingenuity itself during its maiden flight. You can see the shadow under the helicopter. By the second day, the helicopter was flying farther, and Perseverance was filming the flights of its own little companion. In the following weeks, the helicopter set off again and again for small sightseeing flights in the Jezero crater, where it had been dropped off together with Perseverance. The crater could have once been an impact hole of an asteroid, which later filled with water. This was indicated by images taken by other Mars missions. Some rock traces could even be evidence of bacteria or worm-like microbes. Perseverance is to investigate exactly that in the coming years. The fact that it will be accompanied by Ingenuity was not planned at all. The helicopter mission was supposed to be completed after 30 days, No one expected the construction to be so durable. Even after the first successful flights, the helicopter's real value became apparent. With a much wider range than Perseverance, the helicopter was soon able to locate the best spots in the crater that Perseverance would have taken days or weeks to reach. Ingenuity found clues that pointed to an ancient water channel. If we didn't know better on Earth, we might even think these formations are the remains of an old road. Craters that might once have been filled with water are also very visible in Ingenuity's images. During its fifth flight in July 2021, Ingenuity discovered more evidence of rock formations that provide valuable information about Mars's past. Thanks to Ingenuity's flights, NASA researchers were soon able to survey a field in the crater as wide as they had ever dreamed. Then in the summer of 2021, major problems arose with a sensor and the helicopter's remote control. Pessimists saw the mission at an end, but Ingenuity lived up to its name. The small helicopter overcame all problems and took off again and again for flights that became longer and longer. Ingenuity's flight altitude is only 33 feet. Initially, the helicopter could only fly a few feet at a time, but at its record, Ingenuity eventually covered 2,200 feet in a few minutes. Perseverance moves very slowly at 0.07 miles per hour. To go 21 feet, the 2,260-pound exploration vehicle needs up to half an hour. The ground rover has little chance of covering further distances, but that's no problem for Ingenuity. Ingenuity has now become the permanent companion and co-explorer of the Mars rover, Perseverance. Thanks to this collaboration between a flying scout and a ground rover, Mars missions could be much more successful and easier in the future. Bird's-eye images will allow NASA scientists to be in two places on Mars at once. Helicopters could also easily be able to explore areas of Mars that are not accessible to rovers. Who knows? In the future, NASA may even be able to build combinations of helicopters and ultralight robots that can even take rock or material samples when loaded. This type of exploration is now under discussion for other planets, and especially for Saturn's moons Titan and Enceladus. Anniversary flight on April 19, 2022. Nobody would have thought it at the beginning of the mission. On April 19, 2022, the surprise success project Ingenuity took off on its anniversary flight. In the process, the helicopter once again delivered a shot that caused surprise on Earth. Unfortunately, this image does not show a crashed flying saucer or the dome of a Martian house. The debris in the photo was part of the heat shield Perseverance used to float towards the surface of Mars. What else did Ingenuity find? In April of this year, Ingenuity studied these tilted rock layers, whose appearance on the Martian surface is an absolute geological anomaly. Thanks to the aerial photography, researchers can compare the two inclined ridge lines in an optimal way. The findings could help to better understand the history of the formation and the past of the Jezero crater. Strange find from Perseverance. Perseverance and Ingenuity have now been on the surface of Mars for a year and a half. Of course, researchers on Earth always secretly hope for a groundbreaking or particularly exciting find. What if traces of a lost civilization or of larger creatures such as animals were to appear somewhere on the surface of Mars? NASA researchers in the Control Center are watching the images and data sent by Perseverance and Ingenuity almost around the clock. When this object appeared on a rover image, everyone held their breath. This strange structure stands out completely from all other appearances on the surface of Mars. It resembles a piece of rope, an old fishing line, or even a coral-like creature from the sea. Probably none of these objects could be found on the surface of Mars. But what was it then? Researchers on Earth finally agreed that the image most likely shows a piece of rope that came from the parachutes used to set Perseverance down. Time and again, images like these cause a sensation on Earth. In 2014, the Mars rover Curiosity was able to capture this image of an object that looked suspiciously like a bone. But speculations that there might be evidence of life on Mars after all were denied shortly after the image was released. It was only rock, responsible scientists said. Still, the majority of the terrestrial astronomers insists on the fact that there can be at the most traces of microbes or other small living beings on Mars. Nevertheless, model calculations exist saying that Mars was a water world with an atmosphere similar to ours many millions of years ago. If these theories are correct, there could have been vegetation and larger living beings on Mars. It's not to be excluded that the remains of these living beings are still buried several feet deep under the surface of Mars, completely analogous to the bones of the dinosaurs, extinct many millions of years ago. Perseverance and ingenuity. What happens next? We can expect many surprising discoveries from Perseverance and Ingenuity in the coming months. This much is clear. The little helicopter is still flying. The helicopter completed its 34th flight on November 10th, 2022. How long Perseverance and Ingenuity will be on Mars together is currently an open question, since the helicopter has now already far exceeded all the requirements placed on it. The scientists are simply delighted with each additional successful flight. Perseverance's mission was scheduled for at least one Mars year. That corresponds to about 687 Earth days. This means that Perseverance has already completed more than half of its mission, but it's very likely that the rover will be in operation for much longer. Its predecessor, Curiosity, rolled over the Martian soil for more than 10 years. Regardless of how long the rover will be in operation, the greatest achievement of the exceptional project will be towards the end of the decade, when the Mars Sample Return mission is to bring the collected rock samples back to Earth. Whether Ingenuity will still be flying then is written in the stars. We bid you farewell for today with this selfie Perseverance snapped of itself and its little flying companion shortly after setting down in April 2021. As always, we'd love to hear your feedback on the video. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video and tell us what fascinates you most about this mission. Is it the technical masterpiece that terrestrial engineers have achieved with the Ingenuity helicopter? Or is it the fascinating images from a distant world that Ingenuity sends to Earth? Write us your opinion in the comments. We'll see you next time at Simply Space.